Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Williams.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Warner. Here. Councilmember Bovair.
Here.
Councilmember Goins.
Here.
Councilmember Koss.
Here.
Assistant City Attorney Ike.
Present.
City Manager Takanich.
Here.
And Assistant City Manager Fear.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay. We got, I know you all don't see Councilman Bovair, but he is with us over the phone, so he's had some issues. I hope he's feeling better. And that being said, we're going to go ahead and have our approval of our agenda and minutes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda with one amendment. I would like to move item number 5-1 under the consent agenda to, I guess it would go under council business, so it would become, would it? Or city business?
City business, yeah.
Then it would be item 8-3. And just so can I just say one thing too? Because it came to my attention that not everybody knows what a consent agenda is. And these are normally just routine items that, we just go ahead and pass. It's just city business that needs to be done. And my taking it out of the consent agenda does not mean that there's some controversy about it as much as it means that I just have questions. And this being an expensive item, that's why I'm requesting that. So the motion, again, is to move item 5.1 to City Business 8.3 and approve the agenda.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion from Councilwoman Coss, a second from Deputy Mayor Warner. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes unanimously. Our minutes? Oh, they're not here, so, okay, we're going to move to awards and presentation. I do have an award here. Mr. Martin couldn't be here, but, there's some additional information that I found out later on, but, and I'll explain that to you. He has spent 40-something years with Walgreens.
Wow.
And we got a letter from the corporate office from Walgreens because they wanted us to recognize him. And then I found out later on, which was actually yesterday, that he actually spent 47 years working for Walgreens. And but the main pharmacy that he was associated with was actually in Titusville. But he's still working for Walgreens in another capacity, but his base, or the Walgreens that he report to, it's the Cocoa Walgreens. So he actually served our community, but not the city of Cocoa's community, but our community within our community in Titusville. And but he just reports to the Cocoa Walgreens office, and that's the reason I reached out to us. So I will make sure I get this to him. And he couldn't be here today. I did speak with him, and
You say 47 years?
I think it was 47 years, yeah. Yeah, and he says he's semi-retired, but he still works for Walgreens. And, but he reports to his report in Walgreens is the one off of Clear Lake, so that's the reason they reached out to us.
Okay.
So, but anyway, I will get that to him. And I see no cards for delegation, which is kind of shocking. But we're going to go ahead and move beyond delegations. And we're going to get a motion
So moved. On the
for consent agenda. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Second?
We got a motion from Deputy Mayor Warner, a second from Councilwoman Coss. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes unanimously. It's like a delayed reaction.
It's a 4-second delay or something over there, yeah.
Okay, we're going to move on to our first item on the public hearing. Approve the second and final reading of ordinance number 10-2019. Do you need to read that in?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
An ordinance, this is 10-2019, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Cocoa, Florida, relating to the provision of stormwater services, facilities, and programs throughout the incorporated areas of Cocoa, Florida, authorizing the imposition and collection of stormwater assessments against property, providing certain definitions, including a definition for the term stormwater assessment, establishing a procedure for imposing stormwater assessments, providing that stormwater assessments constitute a lien on assessed property upon adoption of assessment role, providing that the lien for a stormwater assessment collected pursuant to sections 197.3632 and 197.3635 Florida statutes, upon perfection shall attach to the property on the prior January 1, the lien date for ad valorem taxes, providing that a perfected lien shall be equal in rank and dignity with the liens of all state, county, district, or municipal taxes and assessments, and superior in dignity to all other prior liens, mortgages, titles, and claims, authorizing the imposition of interim assessments, providing for hardship assistance, providing a procedure for the collection of stormwater assessments, providing a mechanism for the imposition of assessments on government property, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Which staff member is speaking on this item? Or,
Finance?
oh, Finance Director.
Finance Director.
I'm sorry.
So this is the second reading of the ordinance, and this ordinance will provide for billing of stormwater fees on the property tax bill as opposed to it going on a utility bill.
Okay. This is, seeing as though this is a public hearing, I'm going to close it at this time to the council and open it up to the public for any public comments. I have no cards, and I don't see anyone rushing up here, so with that being said, I'm going to close it at this time to the public, reopen it to the council. What is the wishes of the council?
Motion to approve.
We got a motion from Councilwoman Cos,
Second.
second from Deputy Mayor Warner. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? It passes unanimously. Item number 2. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ordinance number 9-2019, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Cocoa, Brevard County, Florida, amending Chapter 2 Administration, Article 8 Firefighters Retirement Plan of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Cocoa by amending Section 2-281, Board designated as Administrator Composition, amending Section 2-308, Investment Powers of the Board, providing for codification, providing for severability of provisions, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, ma'am. Administrative Services.
Yes, sir. This is the second and final reading on this ordinance change for our fire pension plan. And there was no changes since the last reading, other than we added the no impact statement. So. Let me know if you have any questions. But this changes the term limits for our board members from 2 years to 4 years, which I believe our staff believes is a good thing. And it allows changes to the foreign investments up to 25%.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Because this is a public hearing, I'm going to close it at this time to the council and open it up to the public for public comments. Any public comments? Seeing that, I'm going to close it at this time to the public and reopen it to
Motion
the
to approve.
council. We get a motion from Deputy Mayor Warner,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Cost. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh, okay.
It passes unanimously. And wow. Community Service Director.
Staff is requesting that we postpone the consideration of an ordinance amending Appendix A, Article 11, Section 22 of the City of Cocoa Code to allow parking as a special exception use in the Cocoa Village Subdistrict of the Cocoa Waterfront Overlay District. So we wanted just to preserve the display ad.
Yes, ma'am.
Motion to approve. Oh, wait, public hearing.
Yeah, and because it's a public hearing, I'm going to close it at this time to the council and open it up to the public for any public comments. Seeing none, I'll close it at this time and reopen it to the council.
Motion to approve.
We got a motion from Deputy Mayor Warner,
Second?
second from Councilwoman Cost. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. It passes unanimously. We're going to move on to council business, council business. Provide council direction request from Habitat for Humanity of Brevard County, Inc., Habitat to donate or sell city-owned property at 114 First Street to allow Habitat to open a restore within Cocoa. Mr. City Manager.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. On June 12th, the city did receive a letter from the Habitat Humanities Executive Director, Ms. Kelly, and they are requesting for the city to either donate or sell the existing or the former fire station at 114 First Street. And additionally, the city would provide the Phase 1 environmental site assessment. The city conduct mold and asbestos testing on the site, which I believe has already been completed, and as well as I tell you the environmental site assessment is underway. And then thirdly, that the city would waive all building and permitting fees for the renovation work to be completed. In turn, they would, once they take possession of the building, they would expend approximately $300,000 to renovate the building and operate a restore for Cocoa residents. In addition to employing Cocoa residents, the restore sells slightly used building supplies, furniture, and appliances. And if it is council's direction, the city attorney would proceed with formulating an agreement that would outline the terms and conditions of transactions, and it would be brought back before city council for final approval. Council should note that there's two things. One, the fire station is on two parcels, so it's going to require a lot split and then a kind of a lot split and then almost like a subdivision, I guess, but a lot split and then a combining of two lots. So because it's kind of the way it's uniquely shaped, because there's one lot that covers part like where the bays are and then extends across to where the water tower is, and then another lot goes partway through the building north to the parking lot.
Yeah.
And then the second item I should know is, and it was provided to each of you at 1:11 this afternoon, did receive an email. I'm not sure if council was noted, but so anyway, it's from Mr. Sinclair, Lawrence Sinclair, and upon reviewing the city council agenda, I become aware of the section 7, council business item number 1, seeking direction, approval, donate or sale old fire station number 1 to Habitat for Humanity Brevard for $1. If it is the city of Cocoa's desire and intent to liquidate the fire station property at 114 First Street, Cocoa, Florida, then I request the city put it out for RFP, as I would be interested in putting in a bid to purchase the property as well. And you each have that email. In terms of the strategic plan and connection, it is obviously one of the goals is to facilitate redevelopment in downtown Cocoa, and this vacant building would be repaired and used to create jobs and offer services and materials to our residents if you were to go to the route of Habitat for Humanity.
Okay. And then, and I know that I've had some conversations with Pastor Wash and some others that are, and I've talked to Kelly about this as well, that are looking for some office space as well. But I can let, if she wants to come up, can you come up, Kelly, and just kind of expound a little bit, and then Pastor Wash, if you can come up as well, and we'll have you up here so we can ask you a few questions as well. I personally think that I've heard a lot about the restore. I've never been to restore, but when I mentioned that to quite a few people, individuals, and they're really excited about it. I guess the only one that we have right now is down in Palm Bay, and it's not centrally located. And at the time, I didn't know of anyone that was interested in Fire Station 1 when I talked to Kelly about this with Habitat. And I thought it was an awesome opportunity for our city, because Habitat not only do a lot for our community, but for communities throughout the county. And I thought it was a great idea, because I thought it would be a great benefit for our community. That was my only intent when I had conversation with her. There was no other, because like I said, I knew of anyone, and no one had ever approached me about that facility and wanting that facility for anything until after I'd spoken with her and they'd heard that we had talked about it. So with that being said, you can go ahead and just kind of talk a little bit about what your plans are, or what you all's plans are.
Well, I know that Habitat for Humanity and COCO has had an amazing relationship throughout the years. We have completed 68 homes in COCO, 19 in the Diamond Square area, with 2 underway right now, with 5 more coming up. I believe that putting the Restore up here would be a win-win situation for COCO and for us. As you mentioned, we sell slightly used items. And during hurricane season, it's amazing how much we get in and how much we are able to sell. It would also give you some jobs up here, some extra jobs. And I really do, I think it would be a win-win situation. We're not going to stop building in COCO no matter what.
Yeah. And then just to add to that, I know that, and then I was looking at the amount of office space there, and I know I reached out to Kelly about, because I know that Pastor Washington, they just got a grant, got some funding for a reentry program, if that's my understanding. And I thought, man, that'd be great, because you have all this office space here. It's a win-win for us in a lot of different ways. And then I had also had been speaking to Ms. Miriam Moore with the Brevard County Homeless Coalition. And I know they're in another facility right adjacent from that location. And about maybe some office space in there, maybe just an office space in there. But I know they all have worked together in many capacities. And I thought it would be a win-win for our community. And but that was my only thing that I was looking at. So I have several lights here.
I just had a question for Mary. Your retail store down in Palm Bay, how many square feet is that?
The actual store
Yeah, the
is
store.
11,000, but we have office space upstairs, which I believe altogether is like 18,000 square feet.
So just the store itself is like 11,000?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Councilwoman Cos.
Yeah, I was going to say, I really love Habitat for Humanity and everything you're doing, and I recognize that you add a lot of value to our community. So this is hard, what I need to explain my position, because just came back from visiting a place where I lived for 20 years. And it was really eye-opening, because I haven't been there, well, I haven't lived there for 10 years, and to see how things have matured and the appreciation that has taken place, just, everything from the trees maturing to the businesses that have come in and the property values going up, and thinking about COCO and thinking about appreciation and thinking about my responsibility to our future as well. And I don't like the idea, I love Habitat for Humanity, but I don't like the idea of giving the property away. Is there a way that we can have lease agreements so that we can maintain the property, so that if something happened down the road, and I don't want to do anything that would hurt your business, but if something happened down the road where you didn't want to be there anymore, the citizens of COCO would have that property back. I think that property is so centrally located. And if we were to develop in certain ways, I'm just, would you be open to that?
I would be open to that if you help pay for us renovate it.
What are other feelings about that?
Can I make a comment, Mr. Mayor, if everybody's okay? the building was being used, and there had been discussion with the city manager that we had a city department who was out of space and needed space. And they were thinking that that might be useful. They had had some conversation with Gary Palmer, who felt like the part of the building that had been used for housing of our firefighters and their living quarters was beyond our ability to make repairs and make it usable. It has asbestos, it had some black mold, and it needed a new roof, and we were looking at upwards of $60,000 to repair that. And it was Gary Palmer's suggestion that we just go ahead and tear that section off because the rest of the building was in decent shape. We could make some minor improvements to the roundhouse, which is solid concrete, and other than smelling like mildew inside, is a really solid building. We have an issue right now with our police department that we have no secure storage for our traffic homicide vehicles and for evidence for vehicles. So I know the police chief was having discussion about potentially using that building if we got to the point where we could tear off that one section and make it usable, because he could do secure storage there. In the meantime, we were using it for the toy drive and to store the Cocoa Community First equipment that they built for the canine competition. But I know that we do need space for the police department. I also know that in the past, our process, I believe, and the city attorney can help me, has been if we had a city property to dispose of, we went to RFP and gave everybody an opportunity, kind of like we did with the old City Hall property, to give us their vision of what could be done on the property and what the highest and best use would be. So to say, well, we're going to do this with it without investigating what other possibilities or potentials or what other great ideas are out there, I think is kind of a disservice. I also love Habitat for Humanity. Made a special trip to Americus, Georgia, specifically to visit Habitat's headquarters, and was fortunate enough to meet some of the ladies who work there in the headquarters, and dedicated people. And I know that Pastor Walsh is doing great things in the community as well. But I think if we step out of what we have done in the past and the procedures we have followed in the past, we may be opening ourselves up for some criticism, and which could affect whoever we decide should benefit from the building. So I just think we need to maybe ask the city attorney and the city manager what our normal process is, and follow whatever our normal process is if we want to unload this property, lease it, give it away, sell it, or whatever. I think we need to follow whatever procedures we normally follow for this type of thing.
Now, I don't remember us ever doing that with an existing building. I know we've done it with vacant property that the city have owned, and where it's gone out. So, but I've never seen it on an existing property with an existing building on there.
I don't know that
where
we've
it's
ever
went out
had
there.
one, yeah.
And so, but anyway, Councilman Goins.
City Attorney, I want to hear her answer to this.
And this property is in this CRA, correct?
Is it?
Yes.
And was it acquired prior to the formation of the CRA? I think that's what I
Yes.
understood. Okay, so there is a procedure for community redevelopment agencies when you're disposing of property that's established by statute that you would follow, which would include an RFP process.
So this is a CRA decision, not a council decision?
No,
Okay.
sorry, let me finish. So, but because there are Attorney General opinions that discuss that if a property is acquired prior to the formation of the CRA and not for CRA purposes, that procedure, that statutory procedure wouldn't apply. We do have a financial operations manual that does have policies in terms of disposition of property, although they tend to, the language tends to apply more to like tangible property and not real property. However, the typical way that that's dealt with is through auction or through an RFP type process. If the council wanted to move forward with possible negotiations or looking at this without an RFP. I think that my office would look at, is there an adequate municipal purpose for donating that? So, and that would be part of that investigation.
Yeah. Because see, that would also fall back on the Jolie Smith Center. You see what I'm saying? The old Jolie Smith Center, we would have to, so, I mean,
Oh, we were tearing it down.
we can't pick, well, that having, there's got to be a.
Still a conversation.
Yeah, that's still a conversation, and I'm just saying, it's just, so we can't pick and choose how we're gonna, when we're gonna do these things, and how we, in which way we decide to go based on individuals, you know. I'm looking at it from a standpoint of how it's gonna benefit our community.
Well, I guess my biggest issue is that if this is the case for this particular item, why wasn't this addressed before it got put on the agenda? That's the question I have, because it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because we got-
am I wrong for saying this? I mean,
No, I mean, you got people that have actually come here and submitted paperwork and you know, and this have never been a part of the discussion, so I'm just a little surprised, and if there's other people that are interested, as I'm seeing now, if you were interested in it, why didn't you approach us? Why are you approaching us now when it comes to here at the last hour when someone else is trying to acquire the property, you know? And it's the most silliest thing I've ever seen in my life, and it's like, it's foolish.
I'm not sure anybody knew it was available
You
because it
know.
was being used.
And according to, from what I was told, there were some inquiries, and I didn't know anything about the inquiries with reference to this facility. I was actually told that there was an organization that was actually getting this facility, unbeknownst to myself or any other council members that, any of the new council members that had just come on here. So I've heard a lot of different stories, unfortunately, and but none of the players have ever come forward and approached us with reference to wanting this facility or having any interest in this facility. Now, all of a sudden, it's a hot item, and it's a wanted piece of property. I just, for the life of me, I don't get it. You know, just all the little games, and it gets old. I mean, it gets old. But anyway,
city
So
manager.
what are we going to do?
I got one card here. Let me have this one gentleman come up, Mr. Ripdow. He wanted to speak on this item.
Are they finished? Yeah, Pastor Jarvis.
Yeah, you all can have a seat right up front there, and then if we need you, we'll call you.
Rip Dial, 3807 Parapet Drive, Cocoa, Florida. This evening, there's another individual that's interested in the property of the fire department. His name is Joe Whitley. He cannot be here tonight. He will be in contact with Mr. Tanich. Also, I had a conversation with you, Mayor, about Community First taking over that building back in April.
Yeah, that was after.
No, the whole thing is I was my impression that Community First was going to end up with that building before the elections. So that's why I didn't press it.
From who?
It was talked about, and the
Well,
fire,
so
they let us,
That's why my lifetime is
they let us put our stuff
Yeah,
in.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just, the board member of Community First did discuss the item with myself, and the direction was no different than what Ms. Kelly did with Habitat for Humanity. You know, whether or not the city wanted to donate it was like, well, then you submit a letter to the city, and we never received a letter from Cocoa Community First. So there's
And this was
never any
for-
assurances and I think the chief can attest to that.
And this was
Never
for a
any-
donation at the time as
correct.
well. Okay.
Right.
But I just figured to let you know that Joe Whitley, a citizen of Cocoa, is interested in the property for purchase.
Okay.
Are we obligated to have an RFP for this property?
No.
There is, no, you're
No.
not obligated to. There is no procedure for that.
Okay.
So,
Nobody likes my lease. Option, do they?
Fine with your lease, it's just.
I just feel like it's a really valuable property that,
Yeah, I got you.
well, we're here to provide direction to the staff, so,
Well, I mean, I'm fine with the lease, but it's like, who do we decide who we're going to lease it to? Whoever's
well,
going to pay the
would
most?
probably
or
be
what?
we'd have to
dang.
determine the best possible.
yeah, I don't agree with so much as a lease, but I think that any agreement that we have with them, that we have that option for it to revert back to the city, you know, if, in the event that they decide they don't want to do this anymore or whatever, we would have first bids based on whatever investments they've made depreciated, you know. You see what I'm saying? Because if they're going to invest $300,000, $400,000 in the facility to bring the facility up and do some upgrades to it, then based on the depreciation value of the upgrades that they made, then we should have the option to get that back just based on, you know, reimbursing them back some of their monies that they've invested in the facility to bring it up to snuff as far as the electrical, roofing, and so forth and so on, if it's within a certain period of time.
Well, since we're in the budget process, here is what I would like to suggest. I would like to suggest that we ask the city manager to investigate and see if we do actually have a city department that has need of the space, or if we're going to have to, at some future point, rent or lease or build space for another city department because they're going to be out of space. So as long as the city has no use for the property, then I would like staff to give us a recommendation as to what they see as our best option. Give staff an opportunity to investigate, because all they've done is brought us Mary's proposal, which is a great proposal. Personally, I can't wait for a resale store because I refuse to drive to Palm Bay. But I would like to see what city staff says our options are, but I also don't want to say, sure, let's let some so-and-so have this building or buy this building or whatever, and then in our budget process go, gee, we're going to have to spend $100,000 to buy a storage shed for the police department. So, you know, and I know right now we're at a critical point with some of our evidence that has to be stored outside, and that they have a shed or something back there that's being used, and the facilities just aren't adequate. I don't want to give away something that we have a use for, but I'm perfectly fine with leasing or whatever if we don't have any use for it. So I would just like more information from the city staff, give them an opportunity to bring us some information to make sure that we're doing the proper thing.
And see, the thing with me is I have never officially heard anything from our police department, the chief, or anyone that stated that there were some issues and some concerns and they needed this facility. And I mean, I've had a couple of individuals approach me and talk about it, but I've never directly heard anything from the police department. And see, that's what I talk about. That's what I mean when I talk about lack of communication and what's going on here. I mean, it's just.
Well, I will say, Mr. Mayor, they did not approach me.
yeah.
I went and asked.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, I just never heard anything about it.
Well, the chief is here.
You know.
Well, I can tell you,
And
So,
Mr. Mayor, the chief has raised the issue in the past.
Right.
And one of the first steps was, again, Gary Palmer had looked at the offices, because one of the reasons why we relocated, and built a new fire station beyond the strategic locations and maximizing it was, even though it's fairly close, but this building does have plumbing issues, has some pretty significant issues, and we were in the process when Cocoa Community First, and then shortly after that, the Habitat for Humanity, but we were in the process of tearing down the administrative portion of that building, and the chief had requested, if there was not a use for it, that he could store, vehicles that were related to traffic homicides in it.
because my thing
It
is.
just was not, it was not fully purposed at the time.
My thing is, have we not built the new fire station, then what would we have done? You know what I'm
Been
saying?
building the cheaper building.
So that's something that, if we got an issue like that, that's something we need to look at, for our police department. And I think it should be, I don't know how much space they have over there where they are now, but we need to look at something that's comfortable and something that's close to the police department that, but I just think it's something that, if it needs to be addressed, is an issue that we need to address. Other than, but as far as this project right here, I think that it's a benefit to our community. That's my thing, but I mean, if you're gonna, and I can understand where Kelly's coming from, if you're gonna invest the money that they're looking to invest in this property, then they're not asking for anything, the thing, other than the building, and they're basically saying that, if you guys have something that you want to give us to help us out, then help us out. But if you don't, then okay, it's all good. We'll get this done,
Well, Chief, the area that you need for storage is mainly for outside use, for cars outside or inside as well?
We would, if it was available, the bays were the area that we were looking at. Because the current problem we have a small storage impound lot at the police department. I'm sure some of you have seen that. It's a fenced-in lot, but it is open. It's not covered. When we have vehicles that are either traffic homicide vehicles or seized vehicles, a lot of times we have to hold those vehicles for a period of time. With the weather, the sun, the rain, everything else, after a period of time, those vehicles pretty much turn into nothing because they sit in the sun, they take that beating. So yes, if that was available, and I had mentioned it before, when they had talked about tearing down the administrative office side, if nobody was going to do anything with it, yeah, we'd love to have just the bays. For us, the only thing we would do to that is, there's really no air conditioning in there or anything. Would be power for lights. We put a security system in, and that's pretty much it. We could also, at that point, some of our larger items, like we did a case a couple years ago with a gambling establishment in the city. We seized, I think, 100 computers, 100 towers, 100. I mean, we had so much stuff that we had it stacked in our evidence room. And I think, and I don't have an exact number, but we probably have close to 60 or 70,000 pieces of evidence in our evidence room. It is getting cramped, and when we do big cases like that, we don't have any place to put it. We do have a shed that we put out on the backside several years ago. It's not really conducive to storing evidence, and if I'm not mistaken, and I believe Mr. Wegeff could probably speak to this, as far as what we have on our property now, I think we're built out to the max for any kind of permanent structure, if I understood it right, because we had talked before about taking that small area where the current compound is and trying to put like a metal shed or something to that degree, just so that we could get some cover over those things. So that's kind of where we were looking at. But, again, from our standpoint, whatever council feels is best for that building and stuff, we'll make do what we have to do.
And it's just unfortunate that you look at our police department, and I guess the design back then was based on looks, because there's so much dead space in there where you go in that lobby. I mean, that could have given us tons of space.
I agree with you. It was built different. I mean,
Yeah,
we've
but,
looked at it today, and, especially with all the new things and the changes and things that have happened, we've said that, had we been able to do over again,
A lot
had
of wasted space in there.
the foresight, we could have done a lot of different things.
But I think that we really need to, and there's a need for what the police department need, and there's a need for what they're proposing in that particular area. And I just think that, we got some storage areas over there already, but I think that we need to, I would like to move forward with this whole deal with the Habitat and the others going in there. And I'd also like to look at some other options on what we can do for our police department, have something done, something closer to where they are, so we can address those issues that serve. Because if that's a concern, then it needs to be addressed. And but anyway, I just that's my comment. I don't. Waiting on you guys to chime in, and what do you guys want to do? I mean, we just giving them directions. They've got mine from me. I'm just telling you, I want to move forward with this. I think that they're going to be a benefit to our community. We got possibly 3 organizations that would benefit from some of the office space in there, but then the Habitat, the bulk of it will be, the bays and most of the office space in there. So it's a win-win for us. It's a benefit to our community, and I'm in support of it. I support it 100%. But I also want to look at finding some answers for our police department as well, as far as getting that situation taken care of. I didn't know it was getting to that point, but that's, Councilman Goins, any?
Is there any other storage possibilities for the police department? Maybe not at that facility, maybe not at the police station, but do we have any other storage place?
It would be, even if you use the open or the fenced-in area at a former Fire Station 3, it would be, again, open and subject to the elements. We looked at that previously. It's, there's currently reserve vehicles stored in those at Fire Station 3, and then I think is for those who participated this morning, that could be an alternate site if we had to operate, at a Fire Station 3. I mean, we did repair the roof with the recognition that, one, it was the newest out of all of our older fire stations, but there's not a site that I know of where we currently have space. I mean, matter of fact, the command post is being stored at Fire Station 1, was previously at Fleet, but there was, there's storage issues there too. And in the existing location, there's no space property that I know of that is on the market or available. They are pretty much landlocked with occupied, businesses or agencies.
There's some out there.
What's inside of the building there?
So what would be the next step? If we were to proceed with this, would the next step be some sort of contract?
It was, the agenda item said, depending on your direction, it's, if your direction is to, for Habitat for Humanity, the city attorney would, come back with formulating an agreement that would outline the terms and conditions, and it would be brought back to council for final approval. And then, obviously, there's the issue of the parcels needing to be boundary line adjustments and separation or subdivision of those parcels.
But that'll be their responsibility anyway, correct? 'Cause they'll be owners.
Well, I think we would have to rectify that, I don't, because it's, it's.
And I think that they would be a great usage. We could delay this and ask for, to see other proposals and make the decision based on that.
I think that's what I'd mentioned earlier as far as asking the staff to see what the other options were.
And bring back a lease option as well, like you were saying earlier, too.
I just, my thing is, I don't like doing business like this. We, always at the last minute, you have all these other proposals and people that are interested that never even show up and never come to the table to talk to you about anything, but then they throw all this stuff out there, and it's just too much, too many of these ridiculous delays, based on some, but I understand that everybody's trying to do their due diligence, but I just think that, for me, I want to move on this because I think that we need to just start coming up with some an agreement, with the city attorney, just based on some directions that we give the staff. But I mean, at the same time, you guys are a part of this. I mean, you all have your own thing, but.
But the thing about it, if we entertain other RFP, we still taking the same space from the police department that they're seeking now that they need.
Exactly.
So
Somebody needs to make a motion so we can
Just a
move.
storage facility versus something that's actually generating and
Well, I
providing
was just
services?
excited to hear that Habitat had $300,000 to spend, because I don't know of another nonprofit we have in the city that can put that kind of money into
And what a
facilities.
great organization to have based here.
But we do have they're using 11,000 square feet in Palm Bay, and the building has nowhere near 11,000 square feet. So I do have some concerns about that, so.
It's just more centrally located, and it's just,
But we do have plenty of vacant warehouse space in the city, and there's
Yeah.
several buildings available down by our city buildings down there. I noticed a couple of warehouses for sale down there, right there near our city facilities in the industrial area this week. So we do have other availability in the city if the point is to bring Habitat to the city. This is not the only available facility.
So my question is this: if we don't move forward with Habitat for Humanity, and we still have a bunch of items inside this facility that we're saying right now that police need, if all the items inside of that building is going to be removed from that building since our police need them?
Oh, I think the only things there is what
There's nothing in there.
No, they're looking to relocate their evidence, is
Yeah.
what they,
But it's storage versus
Yeah, but
natural.
all I'm saying, if we're saying that the police need this facility,
Well, right now, what's in it is the Christmas toys and the stuff for the canine competition, which they can probably find a private citizen to donate some space to store that stuff. In previous years, the toys for Christmas that have been collected, we have had to go out into the community and find a citizen with available space, like Celebration Tabernacle donated the space one year to store the toys, Mr. Lightholder. So this year, we had that building available, so the toys went there. It was more secure than putting it in somebody else's property, not knowing who all had keys to the building. So the toys that were left over from this year's toy drive that would have been used for this coming year, those are still there. Like I said, the canine competition stuff, which you and the mayor helped paint and build, that stuff is there. The other items that are there are mostly stuff that can be given to Jerry over at Down the Road. But the toys, I guess the chief will have to find a place to put the toys and the canine stuff. But like I said, in past years, that's been handled with private citizens donating their facilities, so.
And I don't think that, and I personally don't think that, I mean, if there's some, especially, now and probably within the next couple of years and getting everything situated, I don't think Habitat would have an issue with letting them have a little space to put some toys in there for now, I mean, but anyway, you guys just come on. I mean, what do you guys want? We need to move forward from this right here so we can, no, this is,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, we just need a motion to give the
Just need a
staff
motion
some
on what
direction.
you guys want and give them some directions. I don't know.
Okay,
Well,
you want me to make a motion?
it doesn't matter. If not, I'll make a motion. I'll tell you what, I'll make a motion that we have the staff sit down with the city attorney and negotiate with Habitat for Humanity, as well as, based on some of the information that we have given you all, but at the same time, look into the possibility of, I know there's some other individuals now that are interested in the facility, but just see where they're coming from and what they'd like to propose. But I just think we can move forward with this a little bit, but at the same time, entertain these others that all of a sudden decide they want this facility as well.
Mr. Mayor, I would just caution, if you now start entertaining whether it be Joe Whitley, Mr. Sinclair, or Cocoa Community First, you might want to just open it up to a full RFP,
Yeah,
because
right, yeah.
other people will say, well, you were set on those 4 entities or individuals, and now you've excluded me.
Well, the motion would be to move forward with negotiating with Habitat.
but I'm still, I don't understand what we're doing. So if we put out there for RFP, it's still going to be the same problem. If we get Habitat in here right now, we saying we have an issue with storage. If someone else comes in and purchases the property, we still won't have storage for the police department.
Okay.
So I don't
Can I
get it.
just to respond to that, storage and warehousing is that's relatively inexpensive versus an actual service that we're providing our citizens. So, I mean, they're really not equal in my mind's eye. And
But that
we
service
have to
can be
look at what
provided
is
in
going to
other
serve the
spots in the city.
citizens the best for that.
Yeah, but that service can be provided anywhere, and Habitat obviously has the money to look at other facilities with having $300,000 to invest. Are we want to spend $100,000 to find another facility, or do we want to keep what we have and keep our expenses? That's why I think we need
$100,000 for
the
another
staff to do an evaluation and bring us back. I mean, what's it going to cost us to find storage for the police department? How much storage are we talking about? What are we going to have to spend to tear down the section of the building, the residential section of the building that is in bad shape and is pretty much beyond our ability to repair? I just think we need more information from the city staff before we can make a solid decision about leasing, giving away, or going out for an RFP on the building. That's my opinion, but if somebody wants to make a motion, I'll be happy to.
Is there a
Weigh in.
motion on
I
the
just,
floor?
I just want to add,
We didn't get a
the
second.
storage is not your normal items. I mean, I think the chief, you're talking about vehicles.
Right.
That's what they're looking at, trying to store. That's one of the items. That's why the bays seem like it might be conducive.
Okay, you can go ahead, Kelly.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. I would like to address Councilor Warner. We don't have $300,000 to write a check on right now. We would have to work for that money to do that. And $300,000 is what Habitat could rehab it for. If you go out and you get a contractor, you're looking at $600,000 to $1 million.
Yeah,
So adding value.
yeah, that's what it's.
So you keep saying that if we can throw $300,000 at that, we can go somewhere else.
Well,
Not
we don't
necessarily
have that
so,
kind of
because those buildings are going to be even more. And we can come in and get a building that definitely needs rehab and work on it. But if we go to one of the ones that you say we could get,
You got right.
now we're spending even more
Yeah.
money on that.
So it's either you spend more money or we spend more money. That's what I want an answer from the city manager from. Are we going to spend more money if we give you our building? That's all I want to know.
Okay, and I understand that, I really do. I just wanted to address that we don't have the $300,000 to throw on it.
Right.
I'm sorry, I was
Gotcha.
hoping you did.
I was hoping I did too.
Okay.
But I'll take donations.
We had that in the bank.
I believe there's a motion on the floor
Yeah, I got a motion.
to sell this property to Habitat for Humanity for these purposes, right? Or to proceed at least to.
Yes, yeah.
And I will second the motion.
Proceed with negotiating with Habitat, and then just go from there, and then bring it back to us. So we got a motion from the chair, we got a second from Councilwoman Cost. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay, we got 3-2. It passes, so, the staff's got directions, so. Okay, we're going to move on to item number 2. Consider the appointment of Mrs. Pamela Shea as a member of the Board of Adjustments. What's the wishes of the council?
Motion.
Motion, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We got a motion from Councilwoman Cost, a second from Deputy Mayor Warner. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes unanimously. We're going to move on to city business. Number 1, approve the first reading of, go ahead, ma'am. I'm sorry.
This is there an ordinance number?
It's 8-1?
I'm sorry.
8-1?
Yes.
Okay.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Cocoa, Brevard County, Florida, amending Chapter 22 of the Code of the City of Cocoa to remove certain existing wastewater and water utility rates, fees, and charges from the city code, which are otherwise adopted by resolution, and to make further housekeeping amendments, providing for the repeal of prior inconsistent ordinances and resolutions, incorporation into the code, severability, and an effective date.
Thank you, ma'am. Finance Director?
Yes, Mayor and Council, this agenda item is to segregate the utility rates section from the rest of the handbook. And so I would like to point out that this is not changing any rates and is doing some housekeeping items as far as cleaning up some of the verbiage. So staff is requesting that council approve this ordinance.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. What is the wish of the
Motion to
council?
approve.
Second.
We get a motion from Councilwoman Cos, a second from Deputy Mayor Warner. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. It passes unanimously. Item number 2, approve as recommended the proposed fiscal year 2020 benefit renewal for the medical consolidation to one medical plan and renewal for the dental, and to authorize the city manager to sign related agreement, administrative services.
Yes, sir. Every year, our department works on the benefit renewal for our health insurance for the city and active retirees on our plan. Our Garing Group is here to present on this item right now. This is Sean Fleming, our benefit broker from the Garing Group. And as we're getting the PowerPoint up, I'll just start to summarize part of it. But mainly, we're going to present on the medical piece of it. The dental and the vision and other items were a flat renewal from previous years. On PowerPoint. So we have an insurance task force, which is made of a committee of employees from multiple city departments and union bargaining members. So we meet with them prior to bringing this item to city council. We had 2 meetings that happened. The last meeting that happened, they voted on the recommendation that we're bringing forward tonight. So just wanted to provide that background. And the medical plan was an increase this year based on the increase of medical claims we've had the past year. And the city manager has worked with our finance department to absorb the increase for our employees. So there will be no increase to the employees' paycheck as far as what comes out of their paycheck for their health insurance contributions, but it's a bigger increase to the city. So we'll summarize that in just a minute. So again, this is Sean, and he'll take over.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. Sean Fleming with the Garing Group. Some new faces, and good to see some of you again. So I think Tammy covered it all. To have a very short presentation, I know you've all been here for a little bit tonight, so just want to hit on a couple of things, and happy to answer any questions you all have about the plan, the claims experience, and some of the things that we are looking at. So real quick, for a little bit of background, as Tammy said, the city is self-funded. We transitioned in 2015 and 16, 2015 and 16 fiscal year. What that means is the city pays an administrative fee to a third-party administrator, which happens to be Cigna in this case. They administer the program for the city, the schedule of benefits, they recruit the doctors, the hospital's network of providers, and negotiate contracts with them. The city pays them an administrative fee, which is a very small percentage of the overall cost. And then the city pays the claims as they occur. So if an employee goes to the doctor, as an example, after they pay their copay, any difference in the charge is paid by the plan. So that's what we're talking about a little bit tonight. When we first transitioned to self-funded, we were looking at a 15% increase. The city transitioned, there was an overall savings in the first year of close to $500,000 by doing that. One of the biggest reasons we looked at going self-funded and went self-funded at the time was because we were rolling out the health center. And we wanted to make sure that anything that we saved by having the employee health center was a direct savings to the city. So that self-funded plan gave that immediate savings. So as we look at the last couple of years, what we do is we look at the average claims per employee per year. And you'll notice in 2017 and 18, we've seen an increase from where we've been. That's predominantly driven by a very small number of catastrophic claims. So we've had a couple of situations with costs upward of $1 million just for one individual. For candidly, some catastrophic events that are not in the norm. They're just anomalies that happen, and that will happen every 5 years on a plan. So that's really what's driven up our costs. We've also had a number of cancer claims, as well as some of those trauma and some vascular circulatory claims. We actually had last year 42 claimants that had over $50,000 in individual claims on the plan. That's really what's been driving our experience. 5 individuals were over 200,000. Those 5 people out of close to 800 members on the plan represented about a quarter of the spend. So it's really those catastrophic claims. So one thing that traditionally going back, the city had 3 plans and employees had choices whether they wanted a base plan, a buy-up, or what we call a premier plan. Over the years, and you can see just kind of simply with the bar graph here, the costs in the buy-up and the premier plan, although the employees were incrementally paying a little bit more for those plans, the costs of the claims that they were having were significantly higher than the lesser plans. In 2017 and 18, we actually eliminated that premier plan because the costs were about 5 times everything else. So what was happening is a small percentage of the population was really being subsidized by the larger population. We looked at that with the task force of going down to 1 last year. We went to 2, but the task force kind of gave full knowledge that this year we would be looking at going to 1. You know, the hope was maybe things would change, but we're still seeing costs in that buy-up plan about 2.5 times higher. So that's where, as Tammy alluded, we're talking about going down to 1 plan. But just a couple things. So the initial projection, just looking at medical inflation as well as the added cost from this year, called for about an 18% increase. If we were to look at fully insured, it's a question that's come up a lot. Where the insurance company takes the risk, they're going to want to have a bigger margin. So we project somewhere in the 28% range for a comparable plan. We've done full clinic presentations in the past and can do those again and will, but just real high level, the clinic return on investment for every dollar that we're spending in the clinic, we're saving almost $2 on the medical plan. So that's why we continue to focus on the clinic. We've saved about $1.5 million since it's open. The initial target on the return on investment was about $1.30 for every dollar saved. So we've well exceeded that. And just a couple highlights, we've seen about a 40% reduction in office visits on the plan, a 43% reduction in pharmacy utilization. And the clinic can do a lot of things to identify and diagnose some of those high-cost conditions, but obviously cancer and some of those items, we're not able to run those through the clinic. So as we alluded, we met with the insurance task force a couple of times. We did look at multiple strategies, including reducing the plans from 2 to 1, changing the schedule of benefits, which impacts the employees. Also looking at contribution changes, whether we make the employees pay more for the coverage. And then we also looked at a little more extreme option of going to high deductible plans where every single thing on the plan would be subject to the deductible. Obviously that option wasn't that popular. So what we tried to do was minimize as much as possible the impact to both the employees and the city. So of all the benefits on the plan, we're looking at only tweaking 4, other than eliminating the buy-up plan. So that would take the deductible from $1,500 to $2,000, so a $500 increase for employees in the year, and the out-of-pocket max from $5,000 to $6,000. We actually pulled data for the last 2 plan years, and about 83% of individuals never even had a deductible experience because there's a lot of copays on the plan. So we felt that was obviously beneficial because we're not impacting a large percentage of the population. And then we're making 2 changes, or we're considering 2 changes for behavior. One is changing the emergency room from $150 to $200. That's to really make sure that nobody goes to the emergency room for a household. Average cost of an ER visit is about $2,000, so we want to make sure that there's some financial incentive there in that decision. And then changing advanced imaging, which is going to be your MRIs and CAT scans, from $50 to $100, which is still very, very competitive concerning for some individuals, but based on what employees are paying for that plan, they're gonna save between $2,200 for a single and $6,500 a year in contributions for family coverage. So although they will not have as rich of a schedule of benefits, they're gonna have a lot more money in their pocket from payroll deductions to offset that. And then as Tammy hit on, we're looking at no change to the employee contributions. So if you were in the base plan now, what you're paying this year is what you would pay next year. If you had that buy-up, it's actually gonna go down because you're paying that. And then the last thing in there is we actually negotiated to help with the increase and absorbing the increase for the employees, about $300,000 in additional pharmacy rebates that'll come back to the city. So that's by renegotiating that contract on when employees fill brand name drugs, there's rebates that come back. We've negotiated for more of those. So I'll hit on 2 more pages and then just slip back. Ancillary renewals, which is pretty much everything but medical. Everything is at no rate increase, so there's no change on that. And then we're really focused looking at those claims on what can we do to continue to control those costs in the future. So what we've worked with staff and the task force on is a plan with Cigna called Motivate Me. So we're finalizing some of that plan, but during the upcoming year, employees, when they participate in wellness events, health screenings as an example, if you're eligible for a colonoscopy, mammogram, different things like that. When you go do that through Cigna or the health center, it will record and you'll actually earn points for that. And the plan is during the 2020 plan year, starting October 1st, 2020, we'll convert those points into rewards for the employees for what they did throughout the year. That's really to look at making sure people are taking the right steps in preventative care towards their health, giving that little bit of extra incentive. And with that, I know I went really fast, I know it's a little late, so I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone has.
Councilwoman Costs.
I'll just say I like the ratio, the 2 to 1 basically for the clinic. I mean, that must be trending too. So the 2 to 1 ratio, that's great. It must be trending. Clinics must be, I mean, do other people, are they picking up on this? And
Quite a bit, so we have about 25 groups that we work with across the state that have clinics, all municipalities. Overall, I would say, I don't know the actual count, but probably at least 50 to 70 municipalities across the state that have them. When you start narrowing that down to the larger size ones, so you take out one with 20 or 30 employees, you know, that percentage is probably even higher. And I think from the employee's point of view, it's a great benefit.
Thank you, sir. And what is the wishes of the council?
Motion to approve.
We got a motion from Deputy Mayor Warner,
second?
second from Councilwoman Costs. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? It passes unanimously. And Councilman Boisvert, I apologize. I keep forgetting that you're over there, and I haven't asked you for your input on anything, so I apologize for that. I just got to remember that you're over there. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Sean.
And, oh man, I lost my,
Multi-year,
what did I do with my,
multi-year contract.
okay, we're gonna move on to our next item. Oh, I lost my paperwork. Yes. Which is the item that was pulled from the consent agenda? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. This is a new item 8.3 to approve task order 2019-04 with CH Tooham Hill Engineers, also known as Jacobs Engineering, for the bidding phase assistance and services during construction for security system improvements at the Dial Water Treatment Plant, Project WS 1404, Chemical Conversion and Reliability Improvements Project.
And Councilwoman Cost wanted to have this pulled and put on city business, so here you go, ma'am. Go ahead.
Yeah, because, I mean, this is basically facilitating the procurement for security system, for our water system. So is it based on a risk analysis? Is it?
Yes, ma'am.
Any more?
We have engaged CH, it was probably more than 18 months ago, and it was also in conjunction after we had completed a Homeland Security assessment at the plant. So CH Security, the security scope is included in their original contract and scope of services as provided when they originally RFQ'd for engineer of record.
Okay.
We've done a substantial amount of background research to determine what a best approach to occur so that we could basically create a RFQ that can go out and qualify personnel before we actually go to construction. And the reason for that is because of the security improvements. We don't want to broadcast construction drawings, haphazardly. We want to keep that information on a need-to-know basis. So
And
we
the
will.
vendors for those services, is that a big universe, or is that?
That's pretty large. We
Okay.
expect that we would have quite a few people apply, but again, you never know. But
And it's probably a pretty significant contract,
it will be, yes.
money-wise?
Yes. And then there'll be a kind of a part two, and I'll just mention it because we mentioned the chemical conversion reliability. It's a very large project. When we create new buildings and new chemical treatment at the plant from a separate thing, that will also create enhancements that'll need to be done, but those will be built into that project.
Okay.
This one will address something like gate security and perimeter security at the Dial plant. Because that's stuff we can do right now. We don't have to wait for the project. And we'll also be putting in, of course, servers and cameras and things of that nature.
Okay, great. And just let me take this opportunity to publicly thank Jacobs Engineering for supporting the Cocoa High School chorus as well. Motion to approve.
Second.
We got a motion from Councilwoman Cost, a second from Deputy Mayor Warner. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes unanimously. We're going to move on to our multi-year contract. Chief Police.
Yes, Mayor and Council, this is approve a multi-year interlocal agreement between the City of Cocoa and the City of Rockledge for school crossing guard services for the school year commencing August 12 of 2019 and ending May 28th of 2020. This is for a school crossing guard at Fisk and Roselle Jones.
Thank you, sir.
Motion to approve.
We got a motion from Councilwoman Cost,
Second.
second from Councilman Goins. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It passes unanimously. Okay. Boards and advisory committees. Anyone? City Administration, Mr. Weigriff.
No report, sir.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Bowman.
I'd like to remind council that starting on Monday, July 15th, the customer service hours will be changing. Council previously approved them to be changed from 8 o'clock until 4:30. And by closing customer service, that will allow the customer service representatives to process the people that are standing in line and allow them to leave at 5 o'clock as the rest of the city hall does.
Thank you, ma'am. Is that it?
Yes, ma'am.
Chief Cantaloupe.
No report, Mayor.
Chief Lamb.
Yes, sir, just one item. I'd like to just thank City Council today for participating in the 2019 Emergency Operations Drill for the City of Cocoa, and more importantly, our city staff, the time and effort that they put into participating in that each year, coming prepared and being prepared to do our work for the citizens of the city and the community as a whole. So thank you, City Council, for participating in that.
Thank you, sir. And we appreciate the efforts of our fire department and yourself with reference to that little issue we had here early on. So but we really do appreciate that. You look pretty good on television, sir. Ms. Singer. Anything? Okay.
No.
Ms. Bonds? Okay.
No report, sir.
Thank you, sir.
No report.
Thank you, ma'am. Harry?
No report.
Wow. Okay. City Attorney?
No report. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, ma'am, for being here. Mr. Assistant City Manager?
No report.
Thank you, sir. City Manager?
About 13 pages here, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, just need to make a modification to our budget schedule in terms of, we had anticipated trying to get to you the workshop, the budget books for the workshop on about 3 weeks before, which would have been, I think, the 17th, and we need to push that back to about the 24th. We're still trying to reconcile and make sure that we're there. And then, so we'll provide you that information at the meeting of the 24th. And then the other item is absent a meeting on early tomorrow, or wait, no, not tomorrow, Friday morning. After that, I will be off. I'll be on vacation and returning on the 22nd.
Okay. Is that it?
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you, sir. And then also, Mr. Regruff, I don't know which department had it. I'm sure it was probably Public Works or taking care of that basket that was on 520 for quite some time. But it was on 520 for quite some time, so I appreciate you guys taking care of that, man. And FIS, it was, had several people that asked me about it, and I had saw it, and I was hoping, I mean, I don't know what our policy is, but I had a talk with the assistant city manager, and I don't know what our policy are when it comes to our employees with reference to certain things that we see on our streets, especially some of our main intersections. But it would be nice if we just tuck it upon ourselves, you know, when we see stuff like that, just take a few minutes and pick it up. And I mean, it's just, it was just unsightly for quite some time. And I just, you know, I just think that sometimes we need to take some initiative, and I know it's not the employees' jobs, but I mean, you know, we should take pride in our community, and it's just, when we see something like that, it really should be taken care of, because that's what people see as they're driving through our community and through our city. And we know for the folks that have lived here for a number of years and know that we've been treated and have been treated by some as what I call the dumping grounds of the county, and we're not. We have, the city's a jewel, and I'm looking forward to bringing it to that level that when people, when they drive through our city, they respect us and respect our city. And don't trash our city, and then hope that we get to a point where our employees, when they see something like that, they take it upon themselves to say, hey, let me get out here and get this out of here, because this is our city. But I'm looking forward to that day. But with that being said, Deputy Mayor Warner.
No report, Mr. Mayor, but like the city manager, I will be on vacation and returning in time for the council meeting on the 24th. I have a political campaign in Georgia to work on for a couple weeks. And then I'm headed to Kentucky to help get rid of Mitch McConnell. I just hope everybody had that.
Okay. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get my report now. I just want to thank Keep It Beautiful, because on Saturday, after the 4th of July, they actually came down here and had a trash pickup in the village and the surrounding area, and it was well attended. I spent myself personally down here about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. I had another event I had to go to, but it was really nice and really did appreciate their efforts. But there was something that we discovered, and that's that we don't have any butt cans in the village. There were so many cigarette butts throughout our city. It was unbearable. I mean, downtown, they're everywhere. And that's something we need to look at, possibly getting some butt cans down there for cigarette butts. And if they're not putting them out in the, if they're not smashing them out on the grounds, they're actually doing them on the walls and so forth, so on. And you can see that throughout the village. But it's just something we need to look at, possibly investing in. It's some butt cans along the way. And then also the Playhouse had their 30th season announcement. I attended that event Saturday night as well. great event, some awesome shows coming up. And to all the recipients of the awards that were received that night, a big congratulations to them. But it was well attended. I mean, it was a packed house there. It was very nice. And like I say, they got an awesome upcoming season that's getting ready to happen. So looking forward to being a part of that, as well as possibly trying to get in one of the shows as probably just an extra.
Really?
And then also we had the ribbon cutting event Sunday for Barbara Jenkins. Well, the ribbon tying ceremony on the sign there on Roselle Jones and Fisk. It was quite a few individuals showed up. It was a great event, and they are so appreciative of what the city have done. But I just wanted to pass that on to you all. They were so thankful to the council and everyone for allowing them to do that. And it kind of worked out really well because the 40-day period actually falls on her birthday. The 40th day falls on her birthday when it comes down. So it worked out really great. So there wasn't anything that was scheduled. It just worked out that way. And then the thank you to the folks at Leisure Services for the 4th of July event, and a big thank you to the city of Rockledge. It was part of that as well. It was a great event. To all the staff that was involved, it was absolutely awesome. I just hope that next year that there's we look into maybe some serious traffic direction. With the traffic flow coming out of there from all directions, it was a nightmare getting out of there. And then a big thank you to the staff that was involved with the FYI. I've really loved the FYI that just recently came out because it really focused on stuff that's happening in our community with the Westminster folks out doing picking up the trash along Dixon and Clear Lake, and then the Cocoa High Corey's going to Carnegie Hall, featuring them, as well as some of our volunteers on our boards that have passed, and then just a recognition of those individuals, which I thought was absolutely incredible and awesome. And I'm sure that you're going to get a lot of input from the public with reference to that, because that's what it's all about right there. And that, as far as getting that information out to the people and just letting people know what's happening in the community. So a big thank you to everyone that was involved in putting that together. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and stop. And Councilman Bover, any reports?
No reports, sir.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Coss.
Oh, yeah, okay, so Cocoa High School Chorus is going to be performing at the Cocoa Village Playhouse on August 10th. It's a matinee performance. Tickets are only $25. We are already at $20,000 of our $30,000 goal. This incredibly talented group has been invited as the only school in Florida to be invited to perform Carnegie Hall for the 9/11 commemoration. And I was just digging through here because I have a letter from the governor supporting them and recognizing their talent. So again, appreciate Jacobs Engineering for being a major sponsor in that. And I want to send a special shout out to Susie Wasden, who had a party and raised $5,000 on the spot and has been a big champion, as well as Ruth, for getting our coverage in Florida Today. Really appreciate that. And Coco is going to Carnegie Hall.
Did you tell them the date of the concert?
Oh, it's August 10th. Did I not say that?
And then did you give them?
Saturday, August 10th.
And it's the cost?
It's $25 for a ticket, and you can just go on their website and get tickets.
Okay.
Anything else I forgot?
No,
Okay.
that's about it. And then Councilman Goins.
That's it. First of all, 2 weeks ago, we went to Hannibal Square in Winter Park to get some guidance from their museum in Hannibal Square. So I'd like to thank the staff, Mr. Fuhrer, Mr. Nile, Councilmember Mayor, and Councilwoman Cost, and also Jewel Collins came as well. We had an awesome time. I think we got a lot of great information about moving forward with our African American History Museum. I believe in partnerships, and I think we gained a great partner with Hannibal Square. So I'd like to thank staff for doing that for us as well, and Matt and his kids running around. And another thing too, as far as citizens and sometimes even on council, not voting for something that you want doesn't mean it's a dislike for you. Sometimes being up here making decisions is difficult at times. Sometimes I done got some emails here and there that had a bad taste in their mouth with some votes that we make. But it's not. We're trying to look out for the best interest of the city. And sometimes we make bad decisions, sometimes we make good ones, but we have to deal with either one of them. So I respect everyone's opinion. I think all of us do. But it's not always going to be what you want. So just throw that out there. I'd like to also thank VCOPS for, again, keep working with Jolie Smith, Pastor Jarvis, and all the other partners out there. Y'all doing an awesome job, man. Matt, I know we talked about the lighting situation. Right now, we all know the lights are off based on the project at Jolie Smith. And I know we talked about using the lights from utilities. I want to get a commitment. I know we talked about that last week. Is there any way we can do that soon?
I think, well, one, we do have it in the budget for the upcoming budget for the police department, some light banks. We can commit, and it's no different than we have with the city of Rockledge when they have requested it. However, if there is a break or something and they need to take them, they're going to come and take them. Okay. We are rectifying from the general fund perspective and purchasing some in the upcoming budget year.
Okay. All right, that's fair. I just want to, because I forget at times, and a lot of times, like me and Rip talked last week, we were scrambling because I didn't do my job with staying up on it. So I just want to get a commitment for Friday so we know, and VCOPS know exactly what needs to be done, and I want to make sure it's kind of out of my hands because I make the mistakes.
It's just to the first week of August, correct? Yes.
Okay. August 2nd is the last day.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you. That's all I have. I appreciate everybody for paying attention and staying in for the last 2 hours or so. So I appreciate y'all.
Yeah. And I appreciate you all as well. And I just want people to know that, decisions up here sometimes they're not easy, they're tough. And but I just hope that people don't take things personal, because it's not personal. I mean, it's based, a lot of things are based on information that we have, based on some research that we do. I mean, some of us, I don't know what everybody else do, but I try to do, and I'm sure we all try to do what's best for our community. And with that being said, if I can get a motion.
One more thing, Mayor, too.
Yes,
I know some people might maybe still watching or not, but if you see things on the agenda that you have an opinion about, send us the emails, call our phones, text us. We can all agree to disagree, but if we don't know how you feel, and then when we vote against it or whatever the case may be, we don't really know how to move out. We all want your opinion. Seriously.
Everybody. Yeah.
We want everyone's opinion, good, bad, or indifferent. Even if it's something where you cussing me out, I don't care. I want to hear your voice. I want to, because that's what it's all about, man. It's a democracy. This is what it is. So I appreciate good and bad.
I'd really rather they didn't cuss me out.
Yeah. Well, I'm used to it.
Well, and they also need to understand too, Councilman Goins, that, we don't always agree, but when the vote is over,
It's done.
the vote is over.
That's
It's
right.
done.
It's
and
over.
we move forward, and it's done. It's
Yeah.
done. It's, we can sit up here and argue and disagree about how we're going to move forward or something, but the vote is the vote, and it's done, and that's where we're going, whether we
Right.
like it or not.
Yes.
That's just the way it is, so.
Yes, ma'am.
But we do need to remember to look into and try to remedy this issue with our police department, and that's for space. If there's space that's needed, then we need to look at how we're going to do this and how we move forward with getting that done, so.
Motion to,
We get a
hold on,
motion.
we're gonna wait for Don?
No, he's not going to do it. Go
No.
ahead, Don, adjourn us.
Motion adjourned.
We got a motion from Councilman Bover.
Second.
Second from Councilman Goin. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Good night.
Hope you